And back then, I could buy a deal for $35 a foot and I could get a 10% return all day. And if it wasn't 10, we didn't do it. What's happened since then is the world has become smaller because of social media primarily, and everybody and their father and their cousin and their uncle are now syndicators. And you know how many multifamily syndicators there are in this world? Thousands of them. There are thousands of them. And the reason that the rates have gone down, the returns have gone down, is because it's become an efficient business. When your dad and I were doing it in the early days, it was inefficient. There was no internet. There was no public listing system. We would just stumble into a deal and nobody knew what anything was worth except for us.
Wow.
And we said to people, if we can't get a 10% return, we don't want to buy the building. And now with all these syndicators out there, the reason that there are 6% returns that are getting done is because these multifamily people, there's so many of them and they're selling so hard. You should be a passive investor. You should be a passive investor. Let me teach you about passive investing. And they're all selling these courses to investors, and they've convinced the investors that a 6% yield is a good idea. And investors have bought in. They've said, well, if 3,000 people say that that's a good deal, it must be a good deal. But it's not. It's not a good deal. 6% deal is not a good deal, because if it's based on a cap rate and you're buying something, it's a cap rate of 6. Realistically, you're only giving your investors 5.2 or 5.3 because there are expenses and reserves that people don't remember to include in their numbers. And so, unfortunately, there's what I would call over-optimism.
Sure.
And people believe that they're going to buy these deals in a 6 cap and make all this money. And they were borrowing up until recently at 3 and 4% with floating debt even less. And that's what happened, is that the whole market became so efficient and so well known.